Sometimes, the less you say, the more you understand. Today, I'm going to share a personal story that perfectly explains the fourth law of power: always speak less than necessary. And to stay true to this principle, I'll keep the visuals and editing to a minimum. Why? You'll understand by the end of this story. Let's get into it. This happened at my workplace. I had a colleague, and we just clicked. Same sense of humor, similar vibes. But for me, she was just a friend. She never mentioned a boyfriend, but I had my suspicions and would tease her about it. One day, due to some workspace adjustments, I ended up sitting next to her. We had a great time, joking around, talking about relationships, and sharing experiences. I usually don't discuss my personal life, but I shared a little about my relationship struggles, jealousy, ego, and all that. She found it relatable. That evening, we went for a snack and took a few pictures on my phone. Later, she texted me asking for those photos. It seemed normal, so I sent them. The next day at work, everything was as usual. But again, when I got home, she texted me. This continued for 3 days. At first, I thought nothing of it. But by the third day, I felt something was off. I asked her if something was wrong, but she brushed it off, saying she just considered me a good friend. I let it go, but deep inside, I was curious. Then came the weekend. We barely texted, and interestingly, I was the one who initiated our conversations. On Monday, I noticed she was unusually quiet, not talking to anyone. That night, she texted me first, saying she was feeling low. I wanted to ask why, but held back. The next day, I decided to sit next to her again and start a casual conversation. She seemed distant. When I asked what she was thinking, she jokingly said, "I was wondering if I should talk to you or not." That line stuck with me. Something wasn't right. I teased her, saying, "Should I just block you then?" I took out my phone, pretending to block her. She grabbed my phone and did it herself. That's when her phone rang. I noticed a name with a heart emoji. I guessed it was her boyfriend. She quickly dismissed it, saying, "Just a friend." I jokingly asked, "Friend with a heart emoji?" She laughed and showed me that she adds emojis to all her friends' names. But then, without me asking, she blurted out, "He hasn't called me in the past few days." And just like that, she quickly changed the topic. That was the moment everything clicked. I started connecting the dots. Her sudden interest in talking to me, the deep conversations about trust and relationships, her odd behavior after the weekend, her boyfriend not calling her, her hesitation in talking to me afterward. I realized she wasn't talking to me just because she enjoyed my company. She was emotionally vulnerable because her boyfriend wasn't giving her attention. And the moment he came back, she became distant again. The final act of blocking herself from my phone, that was her way of making a decision easier. I was just a temporary emotional cushion. Had she spoken less about trust, relationships, and her low mood, I wouldn't have been able to piece it all together. Her oversharing gave away her true situation. The biggest slip? Her mentioning that her friend hadn't called in days. That single line exposed everything. By observing more and speaking less, I saved myself from unnecessary emotional involvement. And honestly, while the realization stung a little, I feel lucky that I figured it out before things got worse. If you found this story interesting, like the video and subscribe. I promise I'll be back stronger next week with more content. Thanks for watching.